Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the snowy Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be, as the seasons change, so do you. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. And it is really coming down here in the Carolinas. I have not seen snow in such a long time. This is amazing. I am blessed and grateful to be creating this video for you in this absolutely amazing winter wonderland. So as the seasons change, we now know that there are 4 seasons. There is spring, summer, winter, and fall. And in order, these seasons, according to the chronological calendar, they would start with winter, then spring, then summer, and then fall. And then again. Now, each and every video I create, usually they are in warmer climates. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's in the jungle, sometimes it's in the rainforest, sometimes it's in the woods. Now this video right here is in the middle of a winter snowstorm. This is absolutely beautiful, it's abundant. And just like the weather changes, so too do you along the healing path. The healing path is not linear. It will take time. It will take a lot of time, but in your time you will heal, again, if you utilize the tools that are provided for you on the channel. And if you understand that maybe the season you are in right now, maybe it is winter, not literally, but only figuratively as well, meaning maybe your relationship ended recently and you're putting yourself back together. What you will need to understand is that is only a season. How long that season lasts is up to you. The healing path is directly correlated to how much work you place into yourself. And healing is not easy. That's why it is called healing. If it were easy to do, anybody would do it. But healing takes time. It takes a lot of time. And it takes patience and fortitude and growth and strength and commitment and resilience. And these are all things that you have. So as I mentioned, if perhaps you're in the winter of the healing path, meaning that relationship just ended, or perhaps you're still having challenges and you're ruminating or thinking about the narcissist, etc., I understand. I've been there. What that means is there's work to be done. And as you continue to process things and you continue to grow and to elevate and to change your mindset and practice radical acceptance and learn the definitions and terms in the narcissistic abusive cycle and wrap your head around the fact that that person, they only care about themselves and that they manipulated you and they took advantage of you and they took your empathy and they took your love and your money, time, resources, relationships, and they did whatever they could with that, but they did not do it forthright. They did not do anything above board. They were wearing a mask to manipulate you. When you wrap your head around all those things, eventually what happens is the winter begins to thaw. The ice begins to freeze. Your energy begins to slowly come back to you. This, of course, is when you also go no contact, etc., block these people. But as the winter of the post-relationship part of your life is in place, there are many times that are daunting. Many times you don't think that you're going to want to get out of bed. Many times you don't want to go to work. How could you wrap your head around that this person never cared about you? How could somebody do this to you, etc.? Day by day, week by week, month by month, etc., you'll be putting yourself back together. And if you're following yourself on the path, meaning perhaps you're journaling, which you should, that's what I would highly suggest, and you're really taking your time and staying in that cocoon of boundaries and insulating and protecting yourself, then you understand that that winter is not going to last forever. Because what will happen, just like the 4 seasons, eventually the spring will appear. And when the spring appears, that means things are improving. That means you're no longer in the toxic part of the relationship. You're not ruminating, you're not pining for them, you're not thinking about them, you're not playing the unblocking blocking game. Perhaps most, if not all, of the 4 tethers have been severed, or at least one has been severed. And the 4 ties include the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. As these get severed, you become stronger. As you become stronger, the narcissist becomes weaker. As they become weaker, you become more and more in control of your life, and your clarity begins to return. So in the spring of life, that's when the growth happens, that's when things take place, and that's when everything turns green. It's not the darkest days, it's when things are turning and shifting. Using that analogy with the narcissistic relationship, post-relationship that is, that's when you'll begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that the winter part is over and the dark days are over. Now, will you have challenges? Of course you will. Will you have hiccups and speed bumps that you'll have to get through? Yes, you will. Well, could you still be triggered? Yes, you could. But as you further along the path in the spring part of the journey, then you'll understand that, wow, things are improving, things are getting better, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. As you proceed further and further along, you're now out of the winter, you're now out or exiting the spring. And just like the 4 seasons through the calendar year, what comes next? Well, the summer. As the summer approaches, what happens there? That's when you begin to really do some deep healing. That's when most, if not all, the ties have been cut or severed. That's when you realize, wow, I am so fortunate to be out of that relationship. That's when you look back and you can see the narcissist in your rearview mirror, and you can look at them for who they are, not for who you wanted them to be. When you do that, the summer begins to, the days begin to get longer. And as the days get longer, your energy returns more and more and more. And as your energy returns, your health is improving, your relationships are improving. You have begun to understand what humanity is capable of, and that at the top of the toxic part of the list is the narcissist. And that summer continues to get further and further and further into your mindset. You see, you're shifting the way you see things. You're shifting your energy. You're shifting the way you look at people. You're becoming awakened and aware, educated and empowered. And you're realizing that not only are you the priority, that you come first, second, and third, but that summer is a good time. Summer is a great time. It's an abundant time. It's when you are thriving. It's when you're really, really understanding that the pinnacle of indifference is just within sight, but that there is still work to be done. And as the seasons change, your mindset changes, and what you used to focus on, you no longer focus on. And when you practice the radical acceptance, you understand now, again, what triangulation is, gaslighting, etc. And you realize that these are techniques, these are mannerisms, these are behaviors that the toxic people are displaying to other people or administering. And again, at one point you were in the cycle of abuse. At one point you were in the narcissistic abusive cycle. But as the summer continues on, you really begin to build. Perhaps this is when you relocate. Perhaps it's when you begin to go out and go to the store and buy whatever groceries you want to. It's when you're still journaling. It's when you're still healing. You're still focusing on yourself, and you're growing, you're evolving, you're ascending, you're changing. While you're doing all this, the narcissist is simply slithering away onto other people or doing whatever they do, but they cannot elevate, they cannot ascend. They're stuck in the winter of their life, and they know it, and you know it. And the whole point of that part is the narcissist doesn't want to introspect. They don't want to be accountable. They want to blame other people. They want to keep people trapped in that winter with them. And by the way, I love the winter. I'm talking with the narcissistic relationship. That's not where you want to be. So having said that, this is where the narcissist will always be, because they need a host. They need a fuel source to elevate them higher and higher. And when they get what they want from that host or that fuel source, then they take whatever they can, and usually they discard those people or keep them stuck in the narcissistic fog, and then they look for their replacement. And that's how the cycle goes on and on and on. The one common denominator in the narcissistic abusive cycle, it is the narcissist. You're learning that. If you haven't learned that by now, you're understanding it, and you're realizing that yes, there are many people out there that don't have your best interest at heart. And that now, as the summer days are getting shorter and they're beginning to fade a little bit, now we're going to go into the fall. The fall of your life is the best part of your life. It's when you have healed. You are at the pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, and you can look back at all of the other seasons and see where you were at one point. Example, where you were in the winter part post-relationship, where you were in the spring part, where you were in the summer, and now you're at the fall. You're at that mountaintop. You're now looking back, and you're being very, very patient and kind to yourself, saying, I learned so much. It's amazing how wise I've become. It's amazing how I see humanity. It's amazing how I see people, because I now have a superpower. I can now take my rose-tinted glasses off, because they are off, and you now see the way the world really works, not the way you wanted to see it, or not the way you were taught, or not the way the narcissist wanted you to see it. You see, you can't unsee what you've seen, and now you've coupled your real-life experiences with the terms and the definitions in the glossary in the narcissistic abusive cycle, and that equals wisdom. This newfound wisdom that you've acquired, it didn't come by you taking a class. It didn't come by you enrolling in a class. It didn't come by you reading a book. It came by you living this relationship day in, day out, week after week, month after month, etc. It came from you having to put up with a toxic person who was financially abusing you, mentally abusing you, emotionally abusing you, physically abusing you perhaps, and definitely spiritually abusing you. Despite all that they were doing, you stayed in that relationship because you are a kind, loving, stable, healthy person, maybe even an empath. And you were in that spin cycle of abuse. You were in that winter haze, the fog, the narcissistic zombie-like trance-like state. That's where you were existing, doing things for the narcissist, as long as they would keep you around, or as long as your resources or your mindset held up to their liking. But now you're in the fall, and the fall is a good thing. Maybe you, the person watching this video, maybe you're in your 20s, maybe you're in your 30s, maybe you're all the way up to your 90s. Whatever age you are, age is just a number. It's about your mindset. It's about your growth on this planet. It's about what you've been through. It's about if you take the high road. It's about if you do the right thing even when no one's looking. It's about living your best life toxic free. And when you have the ability to reflect back on what kind of relationship you were a part of, maybe it was more than one narcissistic relationship, and you can actually sit on the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference, and look down and say to yourself, wow, I was once down there and I didn't even know where I was. Then you can really appreciate how far you've come. You see, when you were in that relationship with the narcissist, you lost yourself, and you had to lose yourself to find yourself. I've been saying that exact quote for years, and the reason I say that is because it's true. There are three versions of you. The first version of you is the person you were before you met the narcissist. The second version of you is the version of you when you were in the relationship with the narcissist. The third version of you is the healed version of you when you're at that mountaintop. And you can look down at everybody and you can say to yourself, wow, I am a human being. I was targeted. Somebody took advantage of me. Someone manipulated me. Someone stole everything they possibly could from me. But I'm still here. And I've acquired this newfound wisdom, this superpower that very few can understand, because unless you've gone through the narcissistic abusive cycle, unless you've beaten the narcissistic abusive cycle, unless you've healed and healed properly, unless you've slowed your life down and stayed in that cocoon of boundaries, unless you've learned all the definitions, unless you've put together every piece of the puzzle that you possibly could till this point in time, you won't understand what I'm talking about. You'll think, who is this guy? What's he talking about? I don't get it. Well, that's why I speak your language and you speak my language, and you could probably finish my sentence, and I certainly can finish yours, because I've been in the cycle. I know what it's like to not know what's going on, to be guilted, to be blamed, to be triangulated, to be ghosted, to have doors slammed on you, to have things thrown at you, to be stuck in a car on a freeway going 100 kilometers an hour and be hit on the temple with something. I know exactly what it's like. And I know exactly how the narcissist behaves, one way to the general public and one way behind closed doors. That's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde-like mentality. Having said all these things, once you get to the pinnacle, the mountaintop, and you've healed, and you will know when you've healed, no one else can tell you when you've healed, but when you've healed, you'll look back and you'll say, I cannot believe I was in that. I can't believe how long I stayed in it. I can't believe I made it. I can't believe I got out of it. I can't believe I'm here. Well, the reason you're here at the mountaintop is because you've earned your way here. You see, you've beaten something you didn't know you were up against. You went through the winter, you went through the spring, you went through the summer, and now you're in the fall. And all four seasons are beautiful on this planet called Earth. I'm using this analogy as the narcissistic abusive cycle healing, on the healing path. But when you're in the fall, that's when you're wiser. That's when you slow things down. That's when you use your discernment. That's when you can respond and not react, or that's when you can determine if someone texts you or emails you or calls you, if you want to answer, pick up, or reply at all. You see, you're no longer the same person you used to be. You're totally different. You're in that third version of you. And now you can do what you want, when you want, with whom you want to do it. You're not being controlled. You're not being manipulated. This is when you can take a class, teach a class, read a book, write a book. You can travel. You can fall in love again. You can rebuild relationships with people that are not in communication with the narcissist. You can do whatever you want to do because you've earned your way there. And that's why you are a very rare person. That's why you are a kind, loving person. That's why the narcissist targeted you. And that's why they wanted to keep you trapped in that snow globe of manipulation, if you will. The narcissist collects people. They collect broken hearts. They collect money. They collect anything they possibly can to give them reminders of the people's lives that they've destroyed. Well, they can't do that with you now, can they? No, they can't. You may say, well, why can't they do that with me, Andrew? The reason they can't do it is because you're here. You're getting your cup full. You've put yourself back together, or you are doing so. You're one of the few people who has figured out what narcissism is. You were in the cycle. You deduced what it was. You learned about it. You processed things, and you put yourself back together. You are a very rare person. That's why you are either at the pinnacle or about to be at the pinnacle. And if this is the first video you're consuming, don't get used to the snow, because it doesn't snow that often. I haven't seen snow in such a long time. It's remarkable. But understand that this is a journey. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint. There is no magic pill that you can consume, or no magic wand that can be waved that can get you through this. You will have to do this on your healing path, and you're going to have to focus on yourself. And if you have help along the way, beautiful. As long as the help is coming from a good place of knowledge and wisdom, take it. But understand that not everybody appears who they are. So be patient and kind with yourself. There's a reason you're watching this video. And if you've healed already, drop comments below. Understand that you once were where these new people are. And I certainly was there too. But now that we're out and we've healed, we owe it to ourselves, those loved and trusted ones around us, and the planet, to help other people out who don't even know that they need help. And so that's where we are, those of us who are at the pinnacle. We're at the fall of the relationship, using the seasonal context. And that's a great place to be. Don't think of it as winter, summer, spring, fall on the planet Earth. Think of it as the journey post-narcissistic relationship, putting yourself back together. The winter was the cold, frozen wasteland when you couldn't believe what happened. The spring was when things were beginning to thaw out and you still were in disbelief. The summer was when the long days were there and you were really putting yourself back together. And the fall is when you put all the pieces of the puzzle back together, or almost all of them, and you're now thriving, you're living your best life. You've blocked the narcissist, gone no contact, etc., and you have the wisdom. This is a newfound superpower. It's a wisdom that you can't buy in university, and it can't be taught in a class. Either you went through the cycle and you healed, or you didn't go through the cycle and maybe you claim that you've healed. Who knows? But what I can tell you is this. I can look right in your eyes and tell you if you've been in the cycle, and I can tell you exactly where you are on the journey just by a couple words and just by listening to you. I'm just a human being. I'm a human being that wasn't supposed to make it, but I did make it, and that's why I create videos each and every day, and that's why I'm paying it forward, and that's why I want everybody who was ever in one of these relationships to heal and to understand that toxicity should not be in their life any longer. So for those of us who are at the pinnacle, the mountaintop of indifference, it's the fall. It's a good place to be. We've earned our stripes. We are here. We are battle tested. We are galvanized, and we have become the educated empath, and we are some of the strongest people on this planet. So give yourself a big virtual hug and give yourself a big compliment. You did what most people can't even A, wrap their head around, and B, they have no idea what you're talking about, but C, haven't done it. That's why you are in rarefied air. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it, and I mean loved doing it. From the snowy Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And I created today's video earlier when it wasn't snowing, seeing if the snow would arrive, and it did. It's in the evening here. And I am in heaven. I feel like a kid. This is just absolutely so beautiful. It's a winter wonderland. I hope you're enjoying the video. I love doing it. Understand wherever you are, using the seasons as context in reference to the healing path, wherever you are. If the relationship ended recently, it's going to be the winter. If it ended longer ago and you're still putting yourself back together and learning things, well, it's the spring. If you're improving and your health is returning and your mindset's shifted and you understand an awful lot, it's the summer. And when you get to the fall, that's when all four ties are cut. The financial tie, the physical tie, the spiritual tie, and the emotional tie. And that's a great place to be. That is rarefied air. And that's either where you are or where you will be soon. Continue on the path moving forward each and every day. Focus on yourself. Control what you can control and believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. So that's the video. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. And I'm just going to tell you, this snow is so amazing. I love you all. Virtual hug. God bless you all. I will talk to you tomorrow. Namaste. I love you guys. Bye.